Before the bright lights, before that famous flying knee that changed everything, Jorge Masvidal was just a street kid, a kid from Miami, scrapping in backyards just to pay the rent. He built his life with fists. No silver spoon, no shortcuts, just scars, heart, and grit. In 2019, he was the face of raw violence in a sport that was starting to look too clean. But now, that fame is gone. The fights are gone. And his life? It's looking more tragic every day. Let's go back. Before UFC, before the internet buzzed with his name, Jorge's life was defined by pain, not glory, pain. Born in Miami, but his roots were deeper, all the way back in Cuba. His father, a political prisoner in Cuba under Fidel Castro, he escaped by building a homemade raft, risking everything to find freedom. But once he reached America, things didn't go right. He got caught in the drug trade, arrested, locked up again, this time in the US. And just like that, Jorge's father disappeared again, this time behind cold steel bars. Jorge was just a kid, a boy growing up in a home full of tension. No father, no peace, just silence at the dinner table and anger in the air. That emptiness. It doesn't stay empty for long in places like Miami. The streets filled that void fast. Trouble was always right outside, waiting. And in that chaos, Jorge found something that made sense in a world where nothing did. Fighting. He didn't fight in rings. He fought in parking lots, schoolyards, backyards, anywhere. Because the rules out there were clear. One man wins, one man loses. That's it. And Jorge, he was built to win. School. That didn't stick. He bounced from school to school. But those fists, they spoke loud. He didn't have a plan. He didn't even have hope for a future. He just wanted to survive, day by day. But even in that madness, there was something special in how Jorge fought. He didn't just brawl, he studied, he watched, he learned, he picked up bits of boxing, a little wrestling, some grappling. No fancy trainers, just scraps of knowledge, whatever he could get. He soaked it all in. He didn't have a coach, he had bruises, he didn't have a gym, he had cracked sidewalks, and somehow he turned that into skill, but no one saw it coming. Not back then. He didn't look like a prospect. He was rough, skinny, angry, not the kind of guy managers would bet on, but he kept grinding, waiting for that one break, that one connection to take him out of the shadows. And then it happened. Not in the UFC, not on TV, but in a backyard, filmed on a shaky camera. No ring, no gloves, just shirtless guys yelling and throwing hands. This was Kimbo Slice's world, raw, wild, dangerous, and Jorge stepped right into it. No questions asked, no contracts signed, just fists. In one fight, Jorge took on a guy way bigger than him. Everyone expected Jorge to get crushed, but what happened next changed everything. Jorge danced around him, slipped punches like a ghost, landed clean, sharp shots. Calm, cool, surgical. The big guy collapsed. Jorge didn't even blink. That fight clip spread like wildfire. Before going viral was even a thing, people were whispering his name in gyms. Did you see that Masvidal kid? But Jorge wasn't doing it for followers. He wasn't trying to be famous. He just wanted respect, to prove he belonged. Every busted lip, every bloody nose was a statement. Still, he knew he couldn't live in the backyard forever. He didn't want to be a YouTube footnote. He wanted to be legit. But legitimacy is hard when no one's looking your way. No sponsors, no agents, no big gym backing him. Just Jorge, his mouth guard, and a dream. He pushed into the pro fighting world, and it didn't roll out the red carpet. No, it tested him hard. His debut wasn't flashy, no Dana White, no press, just another forgotten fight card. But Jorge fought like his life depended on it, because it did. From the early 2000s through the next decade, Jorge was a nomad. Bodog, Strikeforce, Bellator, small shows, tough names, no easy fights. He didn't say no. Kickboxers, wrestlers, BJJ black belts, bring them on. He was building a record the hard way, one fight at a time. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost razor-close decisions. And then came one of the most humiliating moments of his career. He was dominating a fight until out of nowhere, he got caught in a standing inverted triangle choke, passed out cold. That clip went viral for the wrong reason. Most fighters would have disappeared, but not Jorge. No excuses. He moved on to the next fight, the next war. In 2011, he finally got a Strikeforce title shot against Gilbert Melendez. He lost a gritty 5-round decision. No shame, but no reward either. Then came 2013. Strikeforce merged with the UFC. Jorge was finally where he belonged, or so we thought. What happened next? The UFC buried him. From 2013 to 2017, he fought 10 times. 10 wars. He beat names like Donald Cerrone, Tim Means, lost split decisions he arguably won. But he wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He was a technician. And in an era where the UFC wanted entertainers, Jorge was getting left behind. They turned him into a gatekeeper, a test. Beat Masvidal and you're ready. Lose and you go back to the bottom. He was stuck, always almost there, never quite getting the push. But Jorge never stopped believing. He knew what the UFC didn't. He wasn't finished, not even close. But then came UFC 217, 2017. He fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and he just looked off. slow, disconnected. Something was missing. After that fight, silence. He vanished. No interviews, no training updates, no fights booked. Everyone assumed he was done, but Jorge wasn't done. He wasn't even broken. He just needed to reset, to disappear, and rebuild from scratch. He left the US entirely, went to the Dominican Republic, joined a Spanish survival competition show called Exatlon. It had nothing to do with fighting, but Jorge wasn't there to be on TV. He was there to suffer, to strip everything down. No coaches, no nutritionists, no cage, just dirt, heat, jungle, and silence. And in that quiet, Jorge asked himself the one question that haunts every fighter: why am I really fighting? Months later, he came back. No big welcome, no warm-up fight, just skepticism. People thought he was finished. 34 years old, 2-fight skid, out for over a year. But Jorge, he had changed. Not just his body, his soul. He came back faster, sharper, meaner. And when he stepped into the octagon in March 2019, the world was about to witness something explosive. March 2019, London, Jorge Masvidal versus Darren Till. Till was the young, undefeated star, fighting in front of his home crowd. He was supposed to win, but Jorge, he didn't care. He didn't come for applause. He came for blood. From the first bell, he fought like a man with nothing to lose, because he'd already lost everything. And when he knocked Till out cold in the second round, people remembered the name again. But that wasn't even the wildest part of the night. While Jorge was doing a post-fight interview backstage, Leon Edwards walked by, said something slick. Wrong move. Jorge walked right over, hands behind his back, and delivered a quick combo to Leon's face. No gloves, no cage, just a 3-piece and a soda, and the internet exploded. This wasn't the same Masvidal from years ago. This was a man reborn. Raw, real, unfiltered. Fans loved it. They missed this. In a sport growing too polished and corporate, Jorge brought the street back. Then came July 6th, 2019. UFC 239. The night everything changed, Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren. Askren was undefeated, a wrestler, a trash talker. He was loud, cocky, and Jorge hated that. No one expected what happened. 5 seconds in, Jorge sprinted across the cage and launched the most violent, most iconic flying knee in UFC history. Boom! Askren was out cold before he hit the ground. It was the fastest knockout ever. It was everywhere. News, sports, memes. Overnight, Jorge went from forgotten to famous. The UFC couldn't ignore him anymore. They created a new belt just for him, the BMF title. Baddest motherfucker, his opponent, Nate Diaz, another street legend. They headlined Madison Square Garden. The Rock was there to hand out the belt. It was the biggest moment of Jorge's life. He dominated Diaz. The doctor stopped the fight. Jorge raised the BMF belt high, like a man who fought for it his whole life. 2019 ended with Jorge Masvidal at the top of the world. Fighter of the year, TV interviews, endorsement deals, a promotion of his own, Game Bread FC. He talked about legacy, about running Miami, about never being broke again. But here's the truth no one likes to admit. The spotlight, it changes people. Jorge started leaning into the image, the chains, the slick back hair, the floral shirts, the Scarface vibe. He wasn't just a fighter anymore. He was a brand. He started showing up at political rallies, speaking at events for Donald Trump, posing with the Trump family, wearing the hats, giving speeches. Some fans cheered, others felt betrayed. The fighter they loved for being real now looked like a walking headline. He was no longer just fighting in cages. He was arguing with UFC executives, demanding more money, turning down fights, talking more than training. And when he finally fought again, he didn't look the same. The edge was duller. The hunger wasn't in his eyes anymore. But the UFC still needed him. July 2020. Kamaru Usman's opponent pulls out last minute. They call Jorge. 6 days notice. He says yes. No camp, no prep, just a shot at the title. Fans went wild. It was the biggest fight of the year. But the fight itself, hard to watch. Usman shut Jorge down, smothered him against the cage, took no risks, just controlled and squeezed the life out of him. Jorge lost clearly, but fans gave him a pass. 6 days notice, they said, give him a full camp. So the UFC ran it back, April 2021, the rematch. Jorge had a full camp this time. He mocked Usman's power, promised fireworks. For one round, he looked good. Then, boom, a perfect right hand from Usman. Jorge's head snapped, sweat exploded in slow motion. He dropped unconscious. First time he'd ever been knocked out cold. And just like that, the myth cracked. Still, Jorge wasn't done. Next up, Colby Covington, his old friend, now bitter enemy. The beef was personal. The hype was real. But when the cage door closed, Colby dominated, out-wrestled him, mocked him mid-fight. Jorge had no answers. And when the cameras were off, Jorge found Colby outside a steakhouse in Miami, allegedly sucker punched him, broke a tooth, got arrested, the mugshot, viral, the BMF. now a legal liability. April 2023, Jorge stepped into the cage one last time. In his hometown, he fought Gilbert Burns, and it wasn't even close. Jorge looked slow, hesitant, lost. After the fight, he took off his gloves and left them in the cage. He retired quietly. The crowd clapped, not for the fighter they saw, but for the man he used to be. Then everything fell apart. His bare-knuckle promotion, Gamebred FC, struggled. He faced lawsuits. He lost sponsors. Even the BMF belt, the one created for him, was brought back in 2023 without him. Jorge Masvidal, the man who rose from backyard brawls to UFC superstardom, had lost it all. Not just the fights. He lost his spark. He lost the fire that once made him dangerous. Now, he's a shadow of what he was. Not because he wasn't good enough, but because the fame, the noise, the spotlight, it pulled him away from the thing that made him great. The fighter who once swung fists to pay rent got everything he ever dreamed of, and in the end, that's what broke him. And that's what broke him.